I'm probably not the first person to observe that taking the red pill is a gradual process, and that the loss of illusions, like any other loss, initiates a grieving process. But it's worth pointing out that psychology's general 5 stages model of the grieving process applies to TRP. Denial. Women aren't like that. They're people just like everyone else. Treat them all as individuals and you're sure to find the right one. Anger. WTF. Bitches are all like this. They have no honor, no loyalty, and they don't really love anyone but themselves. Fucking cunts. Bargaining. If I work real hard and learn all the pickup moves, then at least I'll get laid. Depression. Getting laid by shallow, obnoxious women has become dull and unrewarding, and there's no sense looking for a unicorn. Maybe I'll just be MG Tao for a while. Acceptance. Women aren't bad. My expectations of them, and theirs of me, were based on faulty premises. They are creatures of instinct, just like I am, but of different instincts. If I learn what those instincts are and teach them about mine, we can develop realistic expectations of each other and get along just fine. If we really want to understand what gets written here, in its proper context, we need to understand that most red pill theory posts will belong to one of these 5 stages. Each stage has value, because to reach a later one, you must go through the earlier ones. And as in grieving, the progress through is seldom linear, smooth, uniform, and one-directional. But to understand each post in context, it helps to mentally decide which stage it belongs to, and read it with that in mind. This is why concern trolling and tone policing have no place here. Not because extremism is our banner, we have no banner, we are not a crusade, but because venting, discussing, and understanding anger is a legitimate part of Phase 2. Saying that women aren't worth hanging about with, even for sex, is part of Phase 4. If I were to say, don't be so angry to someone who comes here to say all women are bitches and whores, then I would be interrupting his process of coming to terms with the loss of his illusions. It would be far better for me to tell him that his feelings are important, because feels actually sometimes are important, and that his anger is not bottomless, and that it will eventually run dry. So when I read a text post here, some red pill theory, some rant, I just say to myself stage 2, or stage 3, or stage 5. And then I continue reading, because they are all useful. Even if I am mostly over my own anger, understanding other men's anger helps me, because it teaches me more about where the disconnect between reality and our expectations occurs. But to anyone who doesn't understand that TRP posts come from different stages of the process, well, a lot of what's written here just isn't going to make sense. Hi, Ask TRP. I pulled a threesome the other day and couldn't get it up because I was drunk and had a case of nerves. Now I feel like a loser. Hi, Ask TRP. I pulled 300 lbsx 5 reps deadlift the other day, but gains are coming slowly, and I feel small and weak. Hi, Ask TRP. I'm stuck at 15% body fat. I feel like a blob of lard. Hi, Ask TRP. My girlfriend wears a slave collar and calls me master. But sometimes she fetches me the wrong kind of beer from the fridge because she forgot what kind I like. Is it because I'm not alpha enough? The old seduction groups used to say, fake until you make it. Here we say to change your habits and your mind will follow. There will be a period of time, after you learn to act masculine and get some success, where you will feel like a fraud and a loser in disguise. This is because actions are quicker and easier to change than thoughts. You will have new patterns of behavior, but remember old ones. You will compare yourself to everyone gronking away on TRP. Your standards will rise faster than your progress. Your self-image will take time to catch up to the new you. This is just what happens. Thoughts are habits grounded in over years. Actions are what you are doing right now. They can change in an instant. Along the road between you and your goals, you will have moments of imposter syndrome. Remember that there is no such thing as who you are inside. You are defined only by what you do. If you do something awesome in the next 2 minutes, then in that moment, you did something awesome, and that is all that matters. And if you didn't do what you wanted, or get the result that you wanted, then that will no longer matter the moment you do it right. The greatest advantage of being a man is the same as the greatest disadvantage. You have no inherent value, and you are worth only what you accomplish. This means you can acquire value at any time. If you're better than you were yesterday, you win. If tomorrow you are better than you were today, you win again. Never waste time asking the question of how well you are doing. Mirrors are for people without a distant horizon to focus on. Only ask yourself what you want and plan how you're going to get it. Whisper. A modality is the way or mode in which something exists or is done. You might often see it used with reference to diagnostic modality, which is the way in which a disease or illness is diagnosed by a doctor. Whenever someone talks about a way of doing something, or even, say, creates a subreddit to discuss ways to do a certain thing, sooner or later someone is going to come along and say, yes, we can do it that way, but should we? The word should is a slippery one. It really has two meanings. This is a moral imperative. You should not have sex with someone else's wife. This is the most effective way to achieve X, where everyone agrees that X is a desirable end. You should not run with scissors. The problem with the first one is that it's based on fundamentally flawed premise, that an absolute morality exists which can be discovered. That, of course, is bullshit. You cannot get ought from is. Never could, never will. Does this mean that moral codes are fake and we can do whatever we want? Well, we can, but morals are useful because they exist in the second sense. Moral codes are transactional, not absolute. In other words, they are a piece of social technology that cultures come up with for the purpose of achieving their ends. A social contract that we indoctrinate people into so that they can get along and work together, and thus achieve more than they could in an atmosphere of strife. This means that an effective man does not have one code of moral behavior. He has different types of moral behavior, depending on who he is dealing with, what level of trust he has with them, and what level of reciprocity he can expect from them. The more internal trust a group or culture has, the more elaborate its moral code can be. Moral codes are tools, pieces of social technology, and different tools are appropriate for different tasks. Losing sight of this is the root of the blue pill, and of the downfall of both civilizations and individual men. When a man can be suckered into acting against his self-interest, and in the interest of others who will not do the same for him, he allows himself to be taken advantage of. This is phase 1, denial, when a man is unhappy with his lot in life, but refuses to act to change it because that would be wrong. The moment of awakening, beginning of phase 2, is the moment when a man realizes that the notions of right and wrong which he was taught were not absolutes. They were not even a social contract. They were a slave collar to extract the maximum of labor from him with the minimum of reward. The blue pill is the weaponization of morality. This is why there is a big difference between dispensing blue pills and swallowing them. One is using weaponized morality against others. The is allowing weaponized morality to be used against you. Thus, the question of whether you should sleep with someone's wife has two answers. The blue answer, no, it's wrong, or yes, he doesn't own her. The red answer, what is he to me? Do we have trust? Is there a social contract? Would he extend me the same courtesy? Does he have my back? Is this my friend or a stranger? The difference between RP and BP is not the difference between keep the code and violate the code, but between the code is absolute and the code is situational. I against my brother, my brothers and I against my cousins, then my cousins and I against the stranger.